I'm LaShonda Brown. Thanks for tuning in to my YouTube channel. Today's segment will be covering the Mississippi State Board of Cosmetology practical examination. I will be going over step by step how to set up and how to prepare. I will be using the guidelines from the Mississippi State Board of Cosmetology Student Handbook. Now, this handbook not only covers the practical examination, it also gives you your instructions for the theory exam as well. If you would like to obtain a copy of this student handbook, you can visit our State Board website at www.msbc.state.ms.us, and you can obtain a copy of this student handbook that gives the testing guidelines. This first segment is on setting up your bag with the tools and implements that you will be taking with you for examination. I am going to use the Mississippi State Board of Cosmetology Student Handbook to go by to show you exactly how you should set things up so that when you arrive for testing, there's no guesswork, there's no searching through your bag looking for single items. So I am going to go through each and every item that you're going to need to have, okay? So let's start with our general bag, okay? Now, it is a requirement of the State Board that the carrying case that you bring with you does not exceed 20 by 14 by 9. Reason being, the space at the testing center may be limited, so you're not allowed to bring a big bulky bag, okay? So this bag is 20 by 14, okay? So a bag of this size will suffice to hold all of your items, all right? So let's talk about it. In the general bag, and yours doesn't have to be this big, it's required that you have a first aid kit. You also have to have a disinfectant, and I have chosen these Barbicide wipes. There are several other items that you can use. You will also need a gift bag, your general bag should look like so, and it should be labeled general bag, okay? I had these items outside of the general bag because they would not fit, okay? But you can get a smaller version of the first aid kit. You can get a smaller version of disinfectant wipes to use that will fit in your general bag, okay? So let's talk about that first. I'm going to sit that one out of the way, and I'm going to talk about the general bag. So you may be wondering, why do I need a gift bag? So this gift bag is what you're going to use for your trash bag, okay? And you are going to line it with a trash bag. Okay? So that's what that's for. In your general bag, you should also have a water bottle labeled water. You can choose to use a spray disinfectant along with some wipes as an alternative to these disinfectant wipes. So I'm just giving you some options that you can use for your general bag. your general bag, you need some hand sanitizer because as a general rule, you know we have to sanitize our hands before and after each client, and it's no different when you're doing your practical examination. You need to remember to do the same thing. Also in your general bag, you should have some extra clips. Now, as we move forward and I show you the different services you're going to set up for, you're going to notice that I already have some clips in those bags. But you want to have some extra clips in your general bag in the event you're nervous, you drop them on the floor, and you need an extra clip. You can just grab those from your general bag. Okay? You also need the capes you're going to use. Now, I have my capes in my general bag because I don't have a cape for every service. So I place them in my general bag because I'm going to use these capes for multiple services. So I just place them there. Some other things you need to make sure that you have in your kit is 2 small baggies. Now those 2 small baggies are going to be used in the event that there is a blood spill and you have to use your first aid kit to get cleaned up. You need these 2 small baggies to bag up any soiled material like your cotton balls or your paper towels. Anything that has blood spill on it, you're going to have to contain it in these 2 small bags. Now, some of you may be saying, well, what if I don't have a first aid kit? You can put you a first aid kit together right there at home because many of these items you already have. All you have to do is follow the guidelines that's listed here in the student handbook. So these are the necessary items that's required for that first aid kit. You have to have some gloves, adhesive bandages, gauze or some type of cotton wipe, antiseptic, and like I just mentioned, those 2 small baggies. That's what your first aid kit should consist of. All of those are the items that should be contained in your general bag. Okay, moving forward with the items you need for your practical examination. In the first segment, as I discussed the general bag and the items that needed to be included in your general bag, I failed to mention that you also need a soiled implements container. So as you work through each procedure, those single-use items, you're going to throw them in your trash bag. But those multi-use items that can be sanitized and used again, as you work, you will place them in your soiled implements container. For this entire cosmetology practical examination, you're only going to need 2 mannequins. Okay? 2 mannequins. Now, let me say this. Do not go in for testing with a mannequin that hasn't been shampooed and conditioned and detangled. You want to take care of that. I don't want you to do it the night before because that's going to be waiting until the last minute. So maybe a day or 2 before your examination, go ahead, shampoo and condition your mannequins. Comb them straight back and just let them dry freely. Because if not, when you take those mannequins out of your bag, the hair is going to be wiry and it's going to be all over the place. So you want to make sure that your 2 mannequins have been shampooed, conditioned, and just comb them straight back and let them dry naturally. Okay? For the practical examination, there are 6 skill sets that you have to accomplish. Okay? I have a bag set up for each one of those 6 skill sets that you have to do. Okay? So the first thing you have to do is going to be a basic layered haircut. The basic layered haircut is going to be executed on mannequin number 1. Basic layered haircut is going to be executed on mannequin number 1. So I'm going to open the bag and we're going to talk about the contents of the bag. Now, you will need a water bottle, which, if you recall, it was in the general bag. So once you set up, all of your general bag items are already going to be on the table. So your water bottle is going to be there. Okay? So you need a water bottle. You can use towels, or you may choose to use a neck strip when you're executing the haircut. My preference is a towel, because depending on the brand of neck strip that you use, that neck strip, once it gets wet, it may disintegrate. It may tear up, okay? So I recommend towels. So I have a note in here to place 2 towels in the bag for my basic haircut. You also need shears or a razor. State Board of Cosmetology leaves that option up to you as to whether you want to use a razor or a shear. Okay? I want to bring to your attention, however, that the original straight razors are now prohibited by the State Board of Cosmetology. Do not show up for testing at the Mississippi State Board of Cosmetology with a straight razor. These are prohibited for cosmetology in the state of Mississippi. So what you need to purchase is one similar to this. This is called a razor comb, or you can use this type razor that has a feather blade, okay? And I'm sure it's because of safety reasons, because you can't cut yourself using a razor comb or this type razor that has the feather blade. So this should be one of your options if you choose to do the basic layered cut with a razor, okay? But they give you that option to choose. You can use a shear or a razor. Other items needed for your haircut is going to be clips for sectioning and your combs, okay? I recommend using an all-purpose comb because you can use it for measurements, okay? Because there's a certain amount of hair that they require you to remove, okay? Also, another hint that I would like to give you, you want to use a comb that's a different color from the hair that you're cutting so that it shows contrast. Okay? So this hair is a dark brown, so I would choose combs in my bag that aren't black or brown. I'm going to use like a gray or like this burgundy to show some contrast. Okay? So those are the items that should be in your bag for the segment on hair cutting, because you're going to be executing a basic layered haircut on mannequin number 1. Okay? I'm going to place these items back in the bag. Moving on to the next segment, which is going to be permanent wave. Okay? The permanent wave process is also going to be executed on mannequin number 1. Following instructions for this examination is half your battle. So make sure you're following instructions properly. So again, on mannequin number 1, the first thing you will do is the haircut, and then you will be performing permanent wave. So let's look at what's required for that skill set. Okay? So permanent wave is a double process. We know that if a client was in the salon, that hair would first have to be cleansed or lightly shampooed, and then we will begin the basic wrap process. So when it comes to draping, you can, when you're doing the wrap part, use a single drape, but you need a double drape when you get ready to apply that perm wrap solution, because that's a chemical process. If you think you're gonna forget, go ahead and double drape from the beginning, because double drape is required for all chemical processes. Okay? So you will need towels. 2 towels, one to go under the cape and one to drape on top, because it is a chemical process. You will also need combs, end papers, gloves, cotton coil, and your perm rods. Okay? Now, let's talk about these rods. When it comes to your perm rods, you need 3 different sizes, because you have to show graduation. And what's meant by graduation means you're going to place the rods from the largest to the smallest. And according to our state law student handbook, the rods can be no larger than white and no smaller than blue. So in my bag, I have white, gray, and pink. Okay, you have to wrap 6 rods. Of course, I have more than 6 rods in this bag, and I encourage you to do the same, because if you remember, when working with perm rods, sometimes those bands snap. Okay, so you want to have some extra rods in there just in case your bands snap. Okay, now I chose cotton coil. Also, as an option, you can opt out to use a protective cream, but I prefer a cotton coil. Okay, and that's what I have here in my bag. Okay, I want to say something about the gloves. Now, when you are doing the rods, you don't have to have your gloves on while you're rodding, but when you get ready to apply your perm solution from your perm bottle, you have to put your gloves on. So if you think you will forget, go ahead and put your gloves on from the very beginning. Okay? When it comes to the perm bottle, you can either recycle a perm bottle that you have used previously on a perm you've done and just cover up the label, or you can go to the beauty supply and they have these little bottles, and it does say color bottle, but we're not doing color. So as you see, I have taped up, you don't see those numbers, and you don't see the word color. So I have replaced it with a label that says Perm Wave Solution. Okay, but you need to make sure that the nozzle of the bottle is small, not the big nozzle that's used for color, for normal color. It needs to be a small, I call it a needle nose bottle. Okay, so those are the items needed for permanent wave. Again, permanent wave is going to be executed on mannequin number 1. After you finish your permanent wave, you are then done with mannequin number 1, because mannequin number 1 is wet. The rest of the processes has to be performed on dry hair. So you're done with mannequin number 1 after permanent wave. Okay? Now, for the other four processes, okay? The next thing you're going to do is thermal curling, okay? And as you can see, I have my bag labeled, thermal styling, curling, and if you also notice, each one of my bags I have at the bottom sanitized. That indicates that everything in this bag has been cleaned and sanitized and stored properly. It hasn't been used on anyone else, and it's ready for use, okay? So, thermal curling, you need, of course, a towel for draping. You need some white tissue paper, or you can use a paper towel for testing your iron. You need combs. This is a thermal service, so your combs need to be heat resistant, because when you are forming those barrel curls that are required, you have to put the comb between the client's scalp and the iron. So you want to make sure that the combs that are in your thermal styling are heat resistant combs, okay? You also need some clippies in the event that once you do your barrel curls, you want to clip your curls in place. I also have included some duckbill clips for sectioning. Not required, it's just an option for those clippies. You also need a curling iron that's no smaller than a 1/2 inch, but no larger than a 3/4 inch. Now, this particular iron is a Marcel curling iron. Okay, it's not required that you use a Marcel iron. If you want to use a conventional curling iron with the spring in it, you're welcome to use that. It is permitted. Whatever tool you practice with at home or at school, that's the tool you need to take with you to State Board for your examination. Don't open up a new tool when you get to State Board. Whatever tool you're going to use, make sure that's the tool that you practice with, okay? If you are using the conventional type iron that plugs in, you want to check those irons the night before. Make sure it's still powering on. Make sure it's getting hot, because you don't want to get there to the examination and your iron is not working. That's going to disqualify you from testing if you're not able to perform that particular skill. Also optional is hairspray. If you want to add a little something to the hair to make it more pliable when you are making those barrel curls, you're at leisure to do so. Add hairspray. My preference is to use just a little tad bit of curling wax just to smooth out those flyaway hairs and make those irons turn good and smooth on those circles. So those are the items that you need for thermal curling. Again, that will be performed on mannequin number 2. Also, on that same mannequin, you will be executing a thermal press, okay? You are to press those same curls that you just executed in the thermal curl process. So, for the thermal press, you can choose to use a conventional iron that you have to heat in the oven, or you can use a flat iron. It's your choice, okay? Flat iron or pressing comb, okay? You're also going to need towels for draping. Again, heat-resistant combs. And some white tissue paper to test your irons. Those are the tools needed for thermal press. Towel for draping, white tissue paper, your flat iron or your pressing comb, and then non-metal combs. Heat-resistant combs is what you need when dealing with heat. Okay? Also on mannequin number 2, you are going to do your highlighting procedure. All right? For For your highlighting procedure, you need a bowl and an applicator brush. You're also going to need foils. You're going to need combs. It's a chemical process, so you're going to need gloves. And you're going to need some mock bleach, okay? What I mean by mock, of course you're not going to mix the real thing and take to state board. So when I say mock, that means you can use something like gel or conditioner, cholesterol, lotion, toothpaste. There are several different things you can use as a mock substance. I have selected styling gel for my mock substance. Now, for this highlighting, let me say something about these foils. When you place your foils in your bag, make sure they're nice and flat and not all bunched up and wrinkly, so that when you get ready to place those foils, you won't have an issue. Again, highlighting is a chemical process, so you need to make sure you have enough towels to double drape. In that section, you are going to perform highlighting with the foils as well as bleach retouch, okay? But those are the items you need to execute that skill. Highlighting is also going to be on mannequin number 2. The last skill set is going to be chemical relaxer. The chemical relaxer skill is also going to be performed on mannequin number 2. So let's open it up and take a look inside at what you need. So you need a container of mock relaxer. Again, you can use cholesterol, you can use styling gel, you can even use shaving cream, toothpaste. You just need a mock substance that's going to mimic the application of relaxer. You also need some base cream. You need combs, an applicator brush, gloves, and of course you will need towels. Again, chemical relaxer is a chemical process, so you have to double drape in that instance. So this concludes the segment on how to prepare your state board kit and your general bag for the Mississippi State Board of Cosmetology practical licensing exam. Again, thank you for tuning in to my channel. I'm LaShonda Brown. Look forward to seeing you soon in another video coming to your screen. Have a great day.